What it is, man. What's going on, everybody? It's been a week since I posted a video, so figured I'd hop on here and talk about something today that is especially applicable to me right now. And that is, as you can see by the title, transitioning into professionalism. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I think a lot of kids, now don't let me speak for you if this doesn't apply to you, but I think a lot of kids growing up, when they're thinking about the job world and like what they want to do with their career, at least like myself, I spent a lot of time thinking like, oh, I'm going to like defy the system. Like I'm not going to chase the money. Like I'm just going to chase what makes me happy. And yeah, like the money will come was basically my mindset. And now that I am about to graduate college, I've learned quite a bit about just like the professional world in general and what it kind of takes to take that step from your childhood into like being a legitimate professional. And I'm here to talk about some of those things right now. So listen up if you're a youngin' and you need some words of wisdom going into like maybe you're about to start college, or you're about to, I don't know, start working a job, still in high school, taking on some more responsibility. Listen here, man, because this is, I think, really important. And I think the number one thing that you need to kind of have in mind is that you're always going to work under somebody. Like, unless you literally just defy the odds and like, I don't know, like maybe you become a content creator. Well, even if you become a content creator or like a musician or something that requires a little bit more independence, like you're going to eventually have to, if you become successful enough, you're going to eventually have to start thinking about like, oh, if you're a musician, like signing for a label. And at that point, you're no longer independent. You are signed by you're working for a company, essentially. Same for content creation. Content creators nowadays are being signed by agencies, like marketing agencies, and it's a whole different thing. And so whenever I was a kid, I was real defiant, and I was just like, I don't want to work for nobody. Like I want to work for myself, blah, blah, blah. The first thing you're going to have to just kind of get nailed down in your mind is that you're always going to have to work for somebody. Everybody you know, even the biggest bosses you know, are working for somebody or have worked for somebody at some point. So that's the number one thing. I think the second thing is accepting your responsibility. Now, for me, I'll give a little example here. I think I mentioned this a few times, but I've worked tons of jobs. The job that I'm currently working at is the job that I've worked the longest at. And it's because at this point in my tenure with this company, I'm kind of starting to see the fruits of my labor, and people respect me, and it just feels right, you know what I'm saying? But I work in the service industry, and I have to just kind of put this face on every day. Like, okay, I'm working to serve people right now. Like you leave your ego at the door, whatever kind of ego you have. You leave it at the door, man, whether that's a fast food job or a big boy job, you know what I'm saying? Like an office job. Man, you got to leave the ego at the door, because it's just never going to work out. Like, if you are working, then you are, how should I say this? I guess like for the service industry, it's a little bit different because you are literally working to serve. So I'm getting paid to be as good of a servant as I can to these people who have paid for my services. So I'm just going to spill the beans. I think I said this before probably, but I work at an event center, and one of my managers was telling me the other day, like, there's just certain things you have to sacrifice when you're working at a company like this. Like, you have to just put everything aside and be of service to the customer. And I think that is so important when you're talking about being a professional, because like recognizing the circumstances of your specific situation and saying like, okay, even if I'm working fast food, like these people who are coming to the, I mean, like I worked at Zaxby's, for instance, and we had a lot of like just conflict between some of our workers and some of the employees at the time, because the workers, I don't know, like I think you just have to be prepared to be treated like shit is basically what I'm saying. And now that might not like sound appealing to you, but in my opinion, like when you have these experiences and you kind of just know what it's like to accept responsibility for a job and just like take the punches, like, yeah, it might not be fun, but you're making money and you keep a professional face on. I think learning how to do that is so important going into like the big boy job world. Now myself, I am looking to get into a professional setting once I graduate, like a real deal big boy job. Means I gotta cut my hair. Means I gotta dress a certain way. Means I gotta, I mean, like, I don't know if y'all really never even see my outfits, but like I always am dressing baggy, and I'm always dressing kind of just like, I kind of consider it my style. But when you go to these big boy corporations, you gotta dress according to code. And I'm starting to kind of get a feel for this now, because as the place that I'm working for is kind of developing slowly and becoming more and more of a professional setting, I have to abide by like dress code laws. So my boss was like, no more baggy pants, no more sagging, no more none of that. Like, you got to pull up your pants, fasten that belt real tight, tuck in your shirt. Like, while you're here, you got to do that. So that's another thing, just sacrificing it all, sacrificing the ego, doing what you are assigned to do while you are at the workplace. That's such an important aspect. Like, I think young kids need to know that nowadays. Like, leave the ego aside, bro. You're getting paid. Just, I don't know, man. Just suck it up. You're gonna have to deal with it. And that's the second thing. The first thing, okay, I've already forgotten what I've said now, but I'm gonna just kind of transition this into one more piece slowly. And I think the last point that I kind of want to get into is about being a professional is, I think, agreeability and like your ability to mesh with different kinds of people in the workplace. And just, I think being a just like a person who is optimistic, and like if you were optimistic going into work every day, then you're probably gonna have more good days than bad days. But if you dread going into work every single day, oh, I hate working here, like, oh my God, why do I have to work today? Of course you're not gonna like work. Like, you go into it with that mindset every day. I started to notice that in high school, and I think that's one of the reasons that I've lasted so long with this job that I'm currently working, is because at a certain point you just have to say, like, how many bad days of work am I gonna have if I just continue to go in with this mindset that it's just gonna be a bad day? Like, yes, you're gonna have some bad days, but bro, go into work every day with a smile on your face and treat everybody like, I don't know, man, just treat everybody as good as you can. And I think that's kind of the final piece that I wanted to put into this puzzle. You have to be moldable. Like, you have to be able to adapt to the circumstances and just take the punches. And I'm not trying to say that all jobs are hell and all jobs are gonna make you feel like shit and you just gotta roll with it. I mean, like, that is true for some jobs, but I like my job, and I actually don't think my job is too hard. You just have to be able to meet people where they are, and whether that's your coworkers or that's the people that you are serving or that's like your bosses. You treat everybody with the same amount of respect, and you treat everybody with kindness. Kindness is really the key to a whole lot of different things, man. So all of those things, what is this leading up to? Being a professional is, in my opinion, I think it's essential to becoming a man, because, like, I don't know, there's a lot of areas and just like a lot of online kind of just like groups. I'm kind of looking at these Andrew Tate fans who think they can break the matrix and they can escape this, like, living like mice, basically. Like, have y'all seen the animated video of the mice just working, and it's just like a big old cycle, and people will use that as like, you have to break free from this. Like, all it takes is read about my course, and you know what I'm saying? Like, Andrew Tate's fans are like licking their lips at this opportunity, like, oh, I don't have to work for anybody, like, this is perfect. In my opinion, those people are just walking further away from manhood and adulthood. I think one of the biggest part of like becoming a man is acceptance. Like, acceptance with anything. Like, who am I as a person? Like, what are my circumstances? Like, what type of work should I be doing? And I don't think you should accept a bad situation. Like, if it's a bad situation, you have all the authority, like I mentioned in that one video, to change your circumstances. But you also have to accept that, like, do I think there's a matrix? Yes. But is there a chance that you can break free and just become some independent, like, gazillionaire who makes money off of crypto? Bro, the chances of that are slim to none. Everybody who I know invests into crypto is also still working a day job. They have to earn money in order to be able to invest. And so there's just a lot of things that people don't recognize, but you have to accept that you gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta suck it up sometimes, man. That's a part of being a man, in my opinion. And the big lesson here is that becoming a professional, for people like me, like, I think some people just grow up knowing that they have to work the rest of their lives, so they just kind of accept that from a very early age. But I think this stage of acceptance, at least for me, is kind of like coming this past few, like 2 or 3 years of my life, where I'm just like, okay, bring it back down to earth. Like, you have to be a professional no matter what career you're pursuing. And I think that's a message that a lot of young men need to hear nowadays. Like, you can't always just have fun, man. Like, I think you can have fun in life always, but a lot of kids nowadays just want to do whatever. Just have fun until it stops being fun, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know. Moral of the story is, man, just suck it up and start putting your suit on, man. Put your suit and tie on and start getting ready for this professional world, because you're gonna have to. If you want a family, if you want kids, if you want to make impact on people's life, you have to have resources. And in order to have resources, you have to work at least for a certain amount of time. That's how I see it. You gotta work. As simple as it is, man. And this is a long ass video, so I'm probably gonna cut it here in a second. But again, if you made it to the end of this video, man, shout out to you. Appreciate all the views that I've been getting. It's kind of crazy that I'm getting so much interaction. I think I mentioned this previously, but I didn't even think anybody would watch these videos. And the fact that I got 100+ views on a few videos is just nuts. So shouts out to y'all, man. Y'all please keep interacting with my stuff. I promise I'll continue to try as hard as I can to put out transformative content like this, and hopefully y'all learned something. But yeah, man, start trying to be a professional, man. Start that LinkedIn right now, y'all. So that's about it. Y'all have a good one.